Some of Britain's leading universities could be on the verge of breaking their ties with the National Union of Students. The rise erupted over the new president, Malia Bouattia, who was elected the union's first black Muslim leader on Wednesday. Now, several student groups are angry about past comments made by her, in particular her description of the University of Birmingham as a Zionist outpost. She also voted down a motion to condemn Islamic State, saying that it would stoke Islamophobia, but later said it was to do with the wording of the actual motion. In a 2014 video from a Gaza and Palestinian Revolution event, she warned of the influence of what she's called mainstream Zionist-led media outlets. We can talk now to Jsoc May, who's a journalism student at Cambridge University and also a freelance journalist, and he's heading the campaign for Cambridge to leave the National Union of Students. That's quite a big move, isn't it, Jsoc? Just explain why.
Yes, I think lots of students will be very clear about the fact that Malia's comments are not the kind of views that we as students really want to align ourselves with. And fundamentally, I think our main priority here in Cambridge is to try and institute a referendum on our affiliation to the National Union of Students as soon as possible, so that students can have their say as to whether a union headed up by Malia and somebody with her views and with the past comments that are associated with her, whether that's a union that students really want to be a part of in Cambridge. And I think that's a vital question that we have to answer as soon as we can.
And is there any chance she's been misunderstood?
I think there is some ambiguity around some of these comments, and in particular, I think parts of the press have been very quick to throw around the issue of her failure to condemn ISIS in that original motion from last year. But I think particularly worrying is the comment from the 2014 video, which was made at an event that she attended in an official capacity as NUS Black Students Officer. And I think that particular comment about Zionist-led media is particularly concerning, because that is your standard anti-Semitic conspiracist theory nonsense. And I think it's really important that students have a chance to say whether or not a union whose president makes that kind of lazy association is a union that we want to be part of.
Now, what would be the alternatives to the NUS? Would you set up another one?
Well, at that stage, at this early stage, things are very unclear on that front. When we started this campaign, we started it immediately after she was elected president. And for us, it was just a Cambridge-led movement, and we wanted to be very clear that it was an independent local thing. Since then, however, loads of other universities across the country have actually come out and said that they are also planning disaffiliation campaigns. So it could be a real game changer for the NUS. I think one of the things that we're stating very clearly here in Cambridge is that re-affiliation has been done before. It's not a be-all and end-all. It's not an eternal walk-away. So if a referendum comes ahead, as we hope it will, and if Cambridge students decide to leave the NUS, hopefully that'll act as a really, really stark wake-up call for the NUS to fundamentally change the way it interacts with its members, with universities, and the way it elects its presidents, changing its democratic structures, and really, really trying to rebuild itself so that it can be an institution in which students can put their trust in once again.
So I just want to get this clear then. Who actually elected her?
So there were delegates at the national conference, which takes place every year. And my understanding is that it was about 370 delegates that elected Malia. And those delegates are elected on an individual basis on campus at each university and each member college or further education institute.
Yeah, they were representing the students. So in fact, it was a democratic process.
Well, that's in theory true, but the problem is that student engagement in these elections is so often very, very tiny. In Cambridge, for example, there were only 2 candidates who stood, and those candidates, I think that's right anyway, and those candidates were elected unopposed. And the other places were filled by full-time officers at the student union, and the turnout in those elections is really, really small. And that's something that we all have to work on, because at the moment the delegates attending national conference really aren't representative as students as a whole.
Okay, and just one very brief thought. Has she been asked to stand down?
That's something we've considered, but I think for us the worry is more fundamental than that. Of course, there could be ways in which we could table a motion of no confidence. I don't know exactly the procedures behind that. But for us, the fact that the NUS is even capable of electing a candidate like this as its president suggests there are far deeper causes for concern in the NUS as a whole.
Jsoc May, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we did ask to speak to someone from the National Union of Students, but there was no one available. But we were sent some comments from the current president, Megan Dunn. She addressed the union conference yesterday, and this is what she has said about the controversy. To anyone here or back on campus who's whispering of disaffiliation from NUS because of this conference, know this: we are stronger when we work together. We are better off united than we are when we are standing on our own. So don't walk away. Get organised and stand up for your beliefs. Fight for what you believe in.